Pride is a fabulous time of year when we get to celebrate queerness in all its glorious forms. It's the time of year when we get to let our hair down, but I think that we should be celebrating LGBTQ+ history across the whole year. And it's something that I do with lots of museums across the country. So we look at stories and people within the collections that tell of LGBTQ+ histories. So we're talking about the Victoria and Albert Museum, the University of Cambridge Museums, and also Mgetha Genetha Tol Cardiff, the National Museum Cardiff. We celebrate LGBTQ+ history across place, time, and culture. I'm fascinated by what hair and clothing can tell me about you, me, and people in history. Sometimes it's coded, other times it's blatant, but the way people dress or do their hair tells a lot about queerness. Think, for example, of the floppy dandy haircut of 19th century writer Oscar Wilde, and he always completed his look with a green carnation to sort of symbolize his queer artistic tastes. Or we could also think about the iconic blue and pink hair that Ruby Rose sported during lockdown. Hair, makeup, and individual fashion can show pride in who you are. In a museum context, I like to think of works that highlight individualism and the remarkable works of, say, for example, British fine art photographer Ajamu X, who's a black artist who looks at queer black people in all their fierceness. He really challenges the mainstream narrative of what's being queer in Britain as well. There's also Zanele Mahule. If you look sort of further afield, you can see in the South African portraits that she does, there's LGBTQ+ people showing their pride in different ways, but it's always stunning, and it's something that I think we should always embrace, individuality in our own queerness. I was super nervous when I went to my first Pride. Now I'm kind of on the flip side. I get to welcome people, many people, to their first Pride. I'm part of Museum Pride, and we are made up of volunteers and staff from galleries, libraries, archives and museums, the glams. And what I love seeing is the mix of amazing messages that people put onto their placards. And it shows that across it all, we can actually stand together as well. Museums can have spaces and conversations, hard conversations sometimes, but we want to be able to have it open so that we can be values-led, so we can say who's not at the table, whose voice needs amplifying, because they need to be at the party too. For this year, Pride the Party is going online. I've already been part of a digital festival for the Albert Kennedy Trust, a charity that helps homeless LGBTQ youth, but I'm also involved with a few more charities who are all doing Pride events across the month. So check out Just Like Us, LGBT History Month, and Queer Britain, the museum as well. Plus, on the last Saturday of the month, over on my Twitter, I'll be doing the V&A LGBTQ Tour, and this year we're teaming up with the crew from Refugee Week as well to mark the really important occasion. I'd like to encourage you to get involved with your local LGBTQ+ organisations to find out how you can be involved with Pride online. So for students, there's amazing organisations like Just Like Us, Diversity Role Models, LGBT History Month. For queer history, there's Queer Britain, Stonewall, the Proud Trust as well. And if you like radio, check out Alphabet Pride. It's an amazing place where voices and the community comes together. I first got started with the LGBTQ+ community of Melbourne, where I'm from, with a radio station called Joy 94.9. It was my connector, it's how I learnt about the community and how I made lots of friends. It was really important for me to learn about the LGBTQ+ stories and history of people from different interests, backgrounds and experiences. My Pride anthem is probably going to be Ollie Alexander and Years with the song Desire. It's just so beautifully queer and I love it. It's such a fun song to listen to and it really gets me going for Pride. My Pride style queens are ones that I look up to as well. I'm going to name a couple of drag performers who are the founders of a Pan-Asian cabaret collective. So Shay Shay and Lily Snatch Dragon. They are amazing and they create these spaces for queer people of colour from Southeast Asia, South Asia, all of Asia, because it's about representation. I'd like to think that they are changing the queer British entertainment scene, and they're creating these amazing safe spaces where I get to see people like me on stage performing, and they're amazing, they're hot, they're sexy, they're provocative, they're kick-ass, they rock my world, and they're changing the world as well. My go-to hairstyle for Pride is kind of what you see here. It is, well, not lockdown hair, but it is impossible to tame my 3 cowlicks, so I need something pretty strong. I use VO5 matte clay, and it does have good hold, and it comes in a sturdy metal tin as well, so it is good for travel. So I like to keep things simple up top, but for Museum Pride, we usually decorate our shirts to match our collections. We have the motto, "We are glam" in the front, galleries, libraries, archives and museums, but on the back, what we usually put is different images of objects from our collection that celebrate queerness. And my favorite one was the year that we had Frida Kahlo, the exhibition at the V&A. So I got to paint her onto my shirt with paint and glitter and diamantes and the motto, "Badass Queer." So I hope that that's what you'll be thinking about this Pride as well. Whatever your look and style, I want you to get online and celebrate Pride as a badass queer.